So I watched The Substance. Fellow film fans, what up? It's your boy Tay Talks Talkies and Let's Talk Film. I finally got around to watching The Substance 2024, a French filmmaker, Coralie Fargier. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm probably not, but give me a break. She made this film, and it is truly like no other film I've ever seen. It is a very unique experience, and that's to say the least. Now, I can see why this film didn't do better on a wide scale level. I think that the body horror elements, I think that the ideas being thrown around here, they're very anti-Hollywood, and I love this movie for that. I think an anti-Hollywood film in modern day Hollywood is refreshing because in an industry where they all think they're doing God's work and they all think they're the greatest thing on earth, it's nice to see a film that's really saying, hey, this is a shallow industry. This is a very vain and vapid industry. And this is an industry filled with very shallow people that don't deserve praise. And I like this film a lot for that being the backbone of the message here. The problem with the movie that I found is that the protagonist or protagonists are not sympathetic characters. They're not characters that you're really rooting for. They're very unlikable characters, and it's always hard to get a movie to be compelling when the main characters aren't characters that you're actively rooting for. The only reason you'd be rooting for them, particularly Demi Moore's character, is because you feel bad for the pain that they're experiencing and you want them to be saved from that pain. But other than that, it's not like they're endeared to the viewer. So for that reason, I felt like the movie fell a little flat, and I can see why it didn't do better amongst the masses. But from a pure special effects, from a pure practical effects point of view, this movie is superb. It is sublime. It is a film that needs to be witnessed by anyone who loves practical effects, that loves makeup, that loves costumes, that loves old-time Hollywood horror. This is the type of movie that you live for because it's not using CGI except maybe here and there. But like they say, the best CGI is the CGI you can't notice. They're really just relying on makeup and practical effects to achieve these really horrific body horror images. And in fact, it's probably the most grotesque body horror ever put to film. I don't recall, outside of David Cronenberg's The Fly, and I don't really count slashers as body horror, but as far as pure grotesque body deformities or things happening to a body, it is the Mona Lisa of body horror. It's incredible, and for that alone, I really respect this film. It's a kind of shallow film. It's addressing the vanity of Hollywood and of aging, but the way it's talking about it, it's really shallow in its approach. It's not trusting the viewer to make their own inferences and deductions. It's really holding the viewer's hand, and for that reason, I was a little disappointed. There's scenes that call back to things that have been said to try to hammer home the callback, but it's a little offensive because the astute viewer is going to remember that line or that callback. You don't need to echo it in a flashback. You don't need to have the two, and this is a spoiler, and I'm assuming you've seen it if you're watching this video, but spoiler, the two guys who make the statement about too bad she doesn't have a boob growing out in the middle of her face. Well, when that eventually happens to Margaret Qualley's character, then it calls back. It literally replays them saying that. And it's like, all right, I remembered them saying that. You don't have to replay it to hammer that home. But relatively minor nitpicks. Demi Moore is fantastic. Margaret Qualley's fantastic. They're both incredible. Dennis Quaid is fantastic. There's one thing I didn't like about all the male characters in the film. They were all portrayed as being useless idiots, really just misogynists, idiots, clamoring for a female's attention. It's a very vain and pretentious way of depicting men. We could have had more complexity in the male characters. I get why Dennis Quaid's character, who's aptly named Harvey, I get why he's acting the way he is, but does every male character need to be a scumbag idiot in this movie? That's one thing that held it back for me as well. But all in all, it's a really enjoyable experience. One more nitpick. These are all exclusive nitpicks to Tay Talks Talkies because I'm a bit of a lunatic, but the fact that the biggest show in the country seemingly is a workout aerobic show is a little ridiculous. It's a far cry from reality. That's not in the slightest the type of content that people consume in modern America. And they keep making this big deal about this New Year's Eve show. And when it finally comes, it's in this small theater, like a local town theater. It's not even like a big theater at all. And there's topless women. This is a televised event, but there's all these women with their breasts out. It's like, this is not realistic. And it's a satirical film. And it's almost a dystopian film in a way. Because it's really... It's the substance itself is a very incredible technology. So it is in the same vein as Black Mirror. This felt like a long Black Mirror episode. This felt like a 2-hour, 20-minute long Black Mirror episode, and I liked it for that because I think Black Mirror, especially the earlier, like the 3 first seasons, incredible stuff. But all in all, a really, really, really solid film with incredible practical effects and makeup, and I scored it 4 out of 5 on my Letterboxd. If you're on Letterboxd, give me a follow, Tay Talks Talkies, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Like, comment, share. Let me know what you thought about The Substance if you've seen it. And that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you thought. Tay out.